apply there. So the Panama Canal could have, maybe even should have, been dug across Nicaragua. It wasn't, because of the really, really bad luck of the 32,000 people who were burned to death on the island of Martinique. And this is not a joke. See our last video. The US finished the job after the French quit. They dug there for almost 25 years. Well, the last 10, they were mostly trying to sell their rusty equipment to the US while waiting for a miracle. Not that what happened in Martinique was one. So the Americans took over and immediately began digging a sea-level canal. Whatever happened to learning from others? The French had already figured out that digging a sea-level canal was impossible. A young President, Teddy Roosevelt, was rushing to make the U.S. a world power. He took over the Canal Zone and appointed a chief engineer just 2 days later. John Wallace tried to dig using dilapidated French equipment in the face of the rain, the tropical diseases, and the paperwork demanded by a new government agency called the ICC. He quit after 18 months in total frustration. It was now 25 years of dirt, disease, and death with no canal to show for it. So what do? Enter John Stevens to lead the biggest and most expensive engineering project in human history up to that time. He had never dug a canal, yet had to deal with 120-degree temperatures, torrential rains, a raging Chagres River, tropical diseases, and an impatient president. So what do you do first? 25 years before, a Cuban, Dr. Finlay, asked whether a mosquito's bite could carry germs from a sick to a healthy person. His idea was ridiculed. Then, after the Spanish-American War, 2,000 US soldiers on Cuba died from yellow fever. So two brave doctors decided to use themselves as guinea pigs. Both got sick. One died. Army Dr. Walter Reed took over testing. He put some brave volunteers in clean, sealed rooms with mosquitoes for roommates. They got sick and some died. Other volunteers went into filthy rooms with no mosquitoes, and they were fine. They just stank. Dr. Reed's findings are still considered to be one of medicine's greatest advances because malaria and yellow fever had killed so many in like forever. He saved countless lives, but only after they controlled 2 different kinds of mosquitoes. That's what Dr. William Gorgas did on Panama. His men hunted down any stagnant water, even dog bowls where mosquitoes could lay their eggs. They fumigated buildings and handed out mosquito netting. Every window got a screen. They drained swamps and spread oil and larvicides. They were relentless, and they won. By the way, Dr. Gorgas was immune to yellow fever. He'd survived it once. Gorgas' campaign took 2 years. Stevens didn't dig for that time. Instead, he got ready, including redesigning the canal to lift ships up to what would be the world's largest man-made lake. At the time, it goes right across Panama. Stevens bypassed the bureaucracy by going directly to the president. He built some 5,000 buildings, water systems, housing, cafeterias, repair shops, everything needed for the thousands of workers he'd recruited to live and work safely. He rebuilt the railroad to move the millions of tons of rock and dirt from the dig to the world's largest dam, at the time, across the Chagres River. Stevens then resigned. What? You heard that right. He quit, and President Roosevelt was furious. What happens next is in our next video. Stevens may have resigned to make way for an expert in canals and locks. No one knows. But, and there's always a but, Stevens did what he was good at and used others for their expertise. Now think about that. Dr. Gorgas, the canal designers, the President of the United States, all helped move the canal forward. You should use others when you need their help. Now here's an even more important lesson about logistics. Logistics is organizing things, people, supplies, whatever, so they're ready when needed. Stevens put his important pieces in place. You should do more than think about what you're going to need for anything you do. Stand your dominoes so they fall in a line. Put things out so that they're there when you reach for them. Fairy dust is not a substitute, nor are wishes. Setting things up is a real job. Do it! Prepare for success. It will help you succeed. And now a shout out to Matt for reminding me about the Hennepin Canal between Chicago and the Mississippi. It was the first to use reinforced concrete in its locks, and so taught engineers a lot. Interestingly, the Hennepin was obsolete before it even opened. Alas, by the way, a man, a plan, a canal, Panama, is a palindrome. Like the canal, it goes back and forth. I am Mike for the Be More Better team, and my diet is not going well. I'm up to 239. I want to remind you that if you help someone else, you help yourself. Please comment, like, subscribe, follow, all of the rest. Subscribe if you haven't, but always, always be more better. Body, mind, and spirit. You know the rest. This has been a pleasure. Until the next one. Bye now.